There are many times that you might want to record audio, and this is the smallest, most discreet way of doing it. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda. You may know that people record audio sometimes, maybe to keep themselves out of trouble, maybe to have a little leverage, maybe just to have some notes, maybe to remind yourself to do something. And I found this. It's by IZYREC, and it's a small mini recorder. And you might say, hey, Pete, I can just turn the recorder on my phone. Personally, I use my audio recorder on my phone a lot, but it's actually not that simple. You got to unlock your phone, go to your audio recorder, hit record. Something like this could be even easier and much more discreet. So let's unbox it and then try it out. All right, so let's unbox this smart mini recorder here and just see what we get. Kind of like an Apple product. Tears away right there. And now we get this presentation box, and it's kind of nicely presented for being a very small minimalist device. Actually, I don't know, feels more high quality than you might expect. Man, this thing is not what I expected. Kind of really honestly expected it to be more like a charging block like this, really thick, but this is super thin and super light. And it's got a matte black finish right there. Looks like we get a microphone right there. So it's going to pick up in various directions. The USB-C port right there to charge this guy up. And then it looks like we've got the little power switch right there. So see the red and the black. And then under here, we get some more stuff. We get a very short charging cable. So if you don't have a USB-A to USB-C, they include that. Then, it looks like we get some other accessories here. So looks like we get some Velcro pads here. So my guess is if you wanted to put this on here and stick it to something permanently, you could certainly do that. Or if you didn't want to do that and you wanted to wear this, almost like a lapel mic, and just record the audio and splice that into your videos later. Put this on there. This is a metal clip, man. It's pretty impressive. So I'm impressed with how much you get. I actually really like this because this is something that you could wear on the go, especially if you don't have a remote lapel mic. Man, this is so light that you could just clip this to your shirt. I know some of those actual lapel mics that are pretty large that people like. They're pretty big. They're maybe not as big as this, but they're pretty big. They're pretty bulky. I see people wearing them. Here's the user guide. I want to show you things. There is this IZYREC app that you can download to pair to this thing and use with it. So there's the QR code if you want to do that. But there is some actual fine control that you can do with this little switch here. So if you put it in the middle, kind of have that black and that red showing. That means this guy is off. And so it's just no power state. If I switch this to the red, that means it's in manual mode and it's recording, which is kind of nice. I think a lot of us would recognize that. You're used to seeing that red light, that recording on air light. You use those old camcorders back in the day, that red flashing light means record. So I kind of like that because that's kind of universal. If I put it back to the middle, it's off. But if I move it all the way over here, so it's black, now it's in app mode. So I would control this with the app, which is kind of cool too, because if you have your phone there, you have this clip to your shirt, use that app to control it. All right. So I'm going to charge this up and then I'm going to record some audio with it and then we'll just see how it does. All right, a couple things that I want to show you when you get this thing powered up here and the battery charged. When you turn it on to record, you get a little red LED light right there. So kind of like the old school VCR players, which is really cool. Now, the thing that I want to do here is just actually set this down in front of me. It's probably about a foot away from me in front of my face here, and probably where you would put it. Say you were in a meeting and wanted to record something, or you're putting it on the table or the desk in front of you to record the lecture or the presentation. Maybe it's going to be in your pocket if you're going to surreptitiously record someone. But what I want to do now is let you listen to what the audio is like that it picks up. All right, so this is the audio that the little micro voice recorder is picking up. I'm really intrigued by this myself. There is obviously that microphone that sits in the front there, and it's facing me. So if you are trying to focus in on something, that's definitely how I would do it. But it's facing me, but obviously I would flip that around if there was a presenter or a speaker in front of me, maybe teaching you something, maybe you're in a class, something like this. Now you might be saying, well, Pete, why would I use an audio recorder like this if I have an audio recorder on my phone? Well, first of all, let's say you are in a class. The lecture could last an hour, 90 minutes. You could go to 5 or 6 of these in the day, and your phone
phone could definitely stay on for that period of time, but I have noticed that battery life is very precious for my phone. And if you do pick it up to do something else, well, then you might interrupt that. And I also don't like when my screen goes dark. I don't really know if it's recording. And sometimes if you don't have a phone that has an always-on display or one of those always-on 1 megahertz refresh rates, sometimes you don't know if it's recording. And they aren't necessarily set up to record really good audio from long distances. So something like this might save you that precious battery. It might leave your phone or your tablet available to use it. You know, a lot of times when you're typing notes or looking up something and listening to the lecture and you don't want to interrupt the recording. So having something like this doesn't take up hardly any space. It's like a giant postage stamp. Go right in your pocket, right in your backpack. You can have it right with you. And so something like this could actually save you a bunch of time. The other thing I've kind of thought about here is that maybe you're interviewing people and you don't want to use your phone. Maybe you have questions or references on your phone that you want to use, and you could just use this to interview someone. You could actually use it to interview instead of like those larger voice recorders. So you could always have this with you. You don't have to carry around bulky audio equipment. So you be the judge of the audio quality here, but I think it's supposed to be more utilitarian than optimal. So what we do now is if we get those audio recordings, we can potentially put those on our computer, and now let's see how we can transfer them.
You can definitely download the app, which I did, and it shows you how to turn the switch so that it can find the device. You just hit start connecting and then it will find it. You just tap on it and then you can actually sync to it so that it will show you the files that are actually on the recorder itself. So in this case, the recording that I just made is up there. I can tap on it. I can actually play it and listen to it right from the app itself. But because I want to splice this together with the video that I shot, I can actually share this, and you can share it via email or text message, but I can also airdrop it to my computer. So that's what I'm going to do so that I can put it all together. I really like this little smart mini recorder. I would say that the audio quality isn't what you would get from the big handheld recorders with stereo microphones and all of that. So you probably don't want to use it for that, but for having a dedicated recorder that I think would work perfectly for students, perfectly for people that work in an office, that go to presentations, that have to sit in a lot of meetings, people that maybe have to record a lot of audio. Something like this is perfect because it's capturing that in actually pretty good quality that you could use later to review notes or to transcribe or to have AI turn into a transcript. So I really think something like this in its small, tiny form factor that won't cost you anything in your briefcase or your backpack can actually be really helpful. I actually thought that a voice recorder wouldn't make a lot of sense, that your phone would actually make something like this obsolete. But I think something like this would actually be great for everyday carry in the office or at school. So if you want to pick up this IZYREC voice recorder, I'll put a link to it in the description below. Peter Von Panda, out.